to the final edition this week of the Brandstand, where we help business leaders to understand how investing in their brand strategy can help them to grow their business. I'm Craig McVoy, founder of Beyond Brand, and I've been helping businesses for over 20 years to stand out from their competitors, enabling them to attract more of their ideal customers and then keep them for longer by using our approach. In this episode, we'll be covering a really difficult challenge for CEOs at the moment, which is how do we cut the cloth and survive the next recession whilst reducing our costs but not affecting the quality of our business. When faced with the prospect of having to cut your cloth in a recession, it's not unusual for you to consider all of the elements that you think you can get rid of without any major impact to your business. It's just common sense. It's what all good directors and CEOs will be doing at this moment in time. But it is a real fine balance between what you cut as a cost and the compromise or the impact of what that happens. So before you go making any rash decisions, it's really important that you perform a full role review and understand exactly what it is that people are contributing to the business, whether they are a revenue generating role or whether they're support. Who will deliver what it is that they deliver if you were to get rid of that role, and equally what won't happen as a result of you compromising and cutting your budget in certain areas. And always a good approach to this is to look at what you should stop doing, what you should start doing, and what you should continue doing from how things are now. And also to look at your budget in a manner in which you're able to decide whether something is not now or not ever in terms of the cuts that you make. So it's very reasonable for you to be considering how you move things into the later half of the year, but reflect on the experience that your brand is giving as a result of cutting back on that cost, and where possible look to introduce or keep at least the costs in place that will support your brand experience moving forward. And that means that we really should also be considering how you keep your marketing budget in place. Now, it's all too easy to slash your marketing budget when you believe that sales are going to be a lot lower than what you've been experiencing so far. But previous recession trends tell us that those companies who cut their costs on their marketing during a recession suffered a downturn in terms of their results, not just in the period of the recession, but in the following years that happened as well. Whereas those companies who retain a marketing budget and retain a spend not only are survivors in terms of at the end of the recession, but they thrive and grow at a rate of about 5 times the rate of those who have not invested in marketing. So what's more important to you really than actually cutting that budget is to reallocate the areas that you spend and to rephase the budgets to account for a different model in terms of the distribution of your marketing spend. Look at how you can take advantage of the fact that marketing will be cheaper in this period because less people will be competing for it. So you'll get a lot more for your money during this period, as well as looking at the model of your marketing mix to see which areas can give you a really great return on investment now, as opposed to the bigger budget spend such as TV advertising and those kind of elements. And it's really important that you adapt your marketing anyway to the customer's emotions at this time. They're very, very fragile with lots of people struggling in this period. So it's really important that any marketing that you do commit to is taking into account the emotions of the people around and specifically your target audiences when looking at how it will impact you on your sales. And let's not forget the most valuable resource that you have, and that's your people, your employees. Now is such an easy time for you to cut back on the workforce, whether that be in terms of removing some roles from the business or closing down certain divisions, but also in terms of the investment of how you look after the people that are still remaining within the business. Now, it's prudent to be able to reduce the cost when it's costs that can be cut back on without any impact, but don't fall down the trap of failing to invest in the employee experience, making sure that the well-being of your staff is kept as a high priority, and the training and development of those people that are left in place in your business should be supported, not just in the short term but also in the long term. So if you consider that right now your resources and your costs are all about thinking about the long-term survival of your company rather than short-term thriving trading conditions, your employee experience will drastically affect your customer experience, and therefore your brand experience as a whole is determined by how each of those members in that party are looked after. But as a rule, we would suggest that you are looking at about 60% in terms of long-term spend and long-term investment for your marketing, and about 40% on the short term and the here and now. So just to recap, in terms of this time period, it's not an easy time at all, we understand that, but when looking at how you cut that cloth, think about those three things in mind. So looking at the cost that you'll save versus the compromise that it will bring to your business. Where possible, you want to be keeping your marketing budget in place, redistributing it and reallocating it to resources that will go further but will keep you front of mind. And make sure that you are still investing in that most valuable resource, which is your people, the ones who will touch your customers and make the biggest difference in terms of the experience that your brand gives. Come on! Look out for next week's editions of the Brandstand, where we'll be discussing how to get fabulous finances in place by looking at the one thing you thought wouldn't make a difference, your brand. In the meantime, if you want to attract more customers and then keep them for longer, click the link below in order to access a recent presentation we did on Brand 101, showing you the foundations of a successful brand strategy and how they can apply to your business. Stay safe and see you soon.